the finish line. Check the radio, the pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up.
When you need the best designs in your fleet of vehicles, there's only one brand name that many trust in. One that makes every car pop out from the rest of the field, and that is Lightning Wrapz. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at Lightning Wrapz. Get yourself a vehicle unlike the rest. Lightning Wrapz, the most affordable designs made at your leisure.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
PTM Racing TV and Pedal Metal Racing League would like to give a big thank you to our sponsors for Season 7 Truck Series. Big shout out to all those that have helped support the show, and a big thank you to everyone that comes onto the track. And now, time for the racing in the New Hampshire Speedways 100, presented by Next Level Racing. And yes, indeed, race fans, time to get down to business here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It is time for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100, presented in part by our friends at Next Level Racing, live here on the show as we get down to it here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader Christian Shire, joining you guys here today, calling the action for the Pedal Metal Racing League Truck Series, presented in part by our friends, of course, at Next Level Racing. Take racing to the next level. By the folks over at the Butt Kicker Company, best in performance for feeling real tracks of the virtual world. The Butt Kicker, feel what you've been missing. By Chris Hubka Real Estate Group. Looking for that perfect place to call home? Call up Chris Hubka and Hubka Real Estate Group to get yourself settled in today. by the folks over at Ford Entertainment Group, PC.net, matching your want with your wallet. They will always work with your needs to build the best PC at the right price. And by Lightning Wrapz, most affordable designs, major laser. Lightning Wrapz looks to bring out the best designs in your library. And as we get settled onto the track and into the field, it is time to take a look at our starting lineup. We'll start him on the pole, and it will be the Rattlesnake Robert Kahn in the 21 with his outside, the 87, Kevin Baker. Row number 2, Matthew Hoffer will pilot the 84 with his outside being the 76 of Mike Rideout. And row number 3 is going to be Chantel the Throttle Paddle in the 5 to her outside. It is the 3, that is Jason Henry. And row number 4, final starters of the field, Cindy Taylor in the 07 to her outside is the 8, Tyler Orick. 8 drivers make the call. 8 drivers willing to lay it all down and put on a show for the race fans at home. No quit, no spit, no nothing. It is all set to go here on the track, and into the playing field we go. Green flag is out. We are underway for the New Hampshire Speedway 100. Live on our YouTube and Facebook, and race fans, share it around. Get some folks on the show. We're out and racing. We're out battling. Off the first sectors, out of the turn number 2, clean so far. Gone with the race lead with Hoffer trying to gain up to him here. Everyone looking for their ride, looking for their drive early. Cindy Taylor falling way behind pace here in the 07. Surprisingly there for the driver that has currently been the points leader so far this season. Absolutely killing it on performances, finishes, and her race wins as well to go along with it. She looks to continue that dominance, looks to continue that drive on. Kevin Wesenberg joins us on the show here. Good to have you on board here, sir. Driving on our Facebook stream right now here. It's good to hear from you. As we see a little bit of a fight going down there. The man that drives the big black and back in black 77, that is Kevin Baker right now, trying to take it to the 84 of Matthew Hoffer. The Toyota's in full control so far of the top 3. But it is early, though. Again, of course, that does not mean anything for the long haul. That can easily change on a dime and change on a whimper. You've got to stay focused and stay right in your charge and make for the run the best you can. MRL saying, good luck, everyone. Amazing Racing MRL here to support as always. So I appreciate the coming on board here, Misfits. That is their name, Misfits Racing League. Do not quote us. That is their name, not ours. Right out of the top side, though, you see Robert Kahn trying to diamond it off just a little bit. Takes it a little bit wider in the turn entry, then lets it kind of settle back down. But you notice something, he's not getting out of that light gray area. That is where the asphalt turf is, whereas the darkened turf up top side, that's kind of no man's land here on the Magic Mile. This is not going to be the best place for making any mistakes or making for any drives off. Field continuing to move their way through the chains. Every driver for themselves. No one giving an inch and no one giving out anything just yet. The Throttle, Chantel Paddle in the 5. Lightning Wrapz designed up. Silverado trying to not only build up some speed, but also looking to try to get more ground in the points race. She has had a tumultuous season. Pulls up high and lows. She would like to make another high out of this one. Bottom down on the track, sends the 87 up high side. That's a little bit wider than I think Baker wanted to go, but a good drive off holds the line. MRL saying, of course we are the Misfits. Who wants to fit in, Chris? Well, MRL, I don't know. You guys tell me. We got a lot of folks that tuned in on your end and on your track, so I mean, I'm presuming that'd be the same kind of deal there, my friend. Keystone Corner Road on our YouTube end has said good luck, Shan, down in the comments section. Yes, I have both the YouTube and Facebook up. I am reading your comments as you guys go along. And Cameron, to answer your question, no. Speaking to answer a few questions, one big question I've always had this season is when would we see Jason Henry start to really make a bit of a drive, make a bit of a comeback here in his Square D Silverado Chevrolet body. Henry has had a very reluctant season, if you will. He had an extremely good start, winning it at iRacing Super Speedway, but was reluctant in the form of he was not able to really capitalize on it the next couple races, almost seemingly as though the 3 was kind of backed into a corner and kind of backed out on the track, having nowhere really to play out at, and nowhere to really get anything settled in with. He's been trying to figure out how to change that strategy and change that mentality up as soon as possible. But I can tell you right now, the way he's driving, it looks like he might have a little bit extra kick and a little bit extra give he can use up here at New Hampshire. Although, whoa, that may not be the same case. Everybody falling right into that wall protection. I'm not sure if they just overdrove these corners a little too much, or if they forgot what the truck will do to them, and that's opening the door wide for the 5% Del Bottle. She slammed that wall, though, so hard, I'm not sure if that right front's going to be able to hang in there. She'll have to get some damage control done up later, but she does take over for third. Kevin Baker has now dropped 2 spots. Here comes Henry on the outside. Now driving back inward to get back on the draft lineup. Baker trying to settle himself down on the turns. Henry, you can see honestly, it looked like he took most of the damage, most of the blunt. Look at that front end. Oh, my word. He took a good hit there, did not quite recover from it, it looks like, and that is even slowing him down tremendously. Tyler Orrick in the 8 and the 07 is Cindy Taylor, all making a drive back up into the field. Pass is now starting to really be kicked up here. Look out for right out here as the 76 is being put into a corner up to the top, and here comes Orrick. Now the closer, 07 Cindy Taylor, trying to imitate what the nickname kind of came from her as from our boy. And Kevin Harvick in the 4 taking a win at Michigan. Kevin, if you ever hear these broadcasts or you just ever happen to stumble on these things, congratulations on a long-deserved win there, sir. Long overdue for you. Guess it kind of shows those next-gen Cup cars are as bad as wild to figure out as, well, trying to figure out what the heck goes on in the motorsport world or what happens next when you get on the track and you get on the show. 12 laps down, we still got about 80 laps left. Now about 79 laps to go. Now 78. I can't count today. Sorry, guys. Well, one thing I can say, probably count to was how many spots he's lost, which is about 3. As he is currently falling further and further back. Even the 07 is Cindy Taylor kind of looking in on that corner panel. And Sydney right now, at this point, really doesn't need to do a whole lot here in that SpaceX 07. Her championship race run has been pretty solid and pretty much stable. The only thing that is of concern is where she's at right now. If she does finish where she's at, that does give Robert Kahn some leeway here and some breathing room that, unfortunately, Cindy may not be able to come back from, and she's very well aware of that. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see if maybe that does come back to bite her in the behind there for messing up on that drive and messing up on this track. Robert Kahn, though, right now, at this point, you could just probably guess he's not going anywhere. He's keeping this one away from everyone. Oh, speaking of keeping away some stuff, looks like Baker can't keep that Jason Henry down or keep him away from putting a fight up on him. Here comes the number 3. And Henry right now currently trying to deal the damage he's got, wheel it off as hard as he can and get around that 87 of Kevin Baker so he has more room to work with. Loading New Hampshire right now has had some pretty good drivers here already racing out on the track and already putting on a little show for the fans at home. Watching live on the YouTube and Facebook of PTM Racing TV channels, we appreciate and adore each and every one of you for the support. If you guys haven't already or are new to our channels and new to our shows, be sure to share us around, like and follow us up on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, so you guys never ever miss when we go live. And believe me, you'll be seeing YouTube and Facebook going a lot live more often in the near coming weeks to month coming up. We've got a whole lot of content coming your way from not only the Truck Series drivers, including that Misfits Racing League that has popped up and came onto the show, but also from our Pedal to Metal Racing League. They will be returning with the Truck Series next season, so be sure to check that out when it comes around here. But also, if you may have remembered on the Wednesday night edition portion, we had some Street Stock drivers on the show. And if you wanted more of them, as you've been rightly pointing out, asking for, like we've wanted, you're going to get it. Because coming up in the next couple weeks, next week will be the return of the High Speed Racing League and their street stocks division. They will have them at Bristol Speedway. We'll have a little bit of a hiatus off until September 14th. Then we'll see them return down in South Boston Speedway. So still plenty of action, still plenty of things to come in the near future. And speaking of things to come right now, it looks like Jason Henry and Kevin Baker and Tyler Orr kind of crisscross applesaucing it up a little bit. Packed up and stacked from turn 2. Once more troubles out of that corner. Ends up sending into a 3-wide salute. It almost cost Baker and Henry too much time. Baker looked like he was trying to corner off and get out of that mess. Henry looked like he wanted to just try to evade it. And instead, he gets a whole little bit of that 87 rubbing his racing and bumping and racing. And that's some hard driving off by the boys. Both guys putting the boots and the corner panels to each other. Neither driver gave an inch. Ask for nothing and you receive all of it. That's pretty much the way it goes sometimes. They've got to lap 40 before they throw out the caution here as at their stage break point. They only get one stage break. The rest is on them to figure out when they go to pit road and when they set up for the fuel runs and the drives. The NASA SpaceX 07 City Taylor trying to march her way across into that square D number 3 of Jason Henry. Both drivers lined up in position and both drivers in contention. Henry, though, with major damage on that right side. That's tearing up that right front tire, I guarantee you a bit. Causing him to have to not only have to regroup and restructure, but he's also having to literally figure out on the fly how to keep it up. Justice Odicker joins us now saying, wow, that was some good driving there. Yeah, some hard racing there, old Sparky. But they hang tough and they hang stable. Also, while we're at it here and talking about our racing seasons coming up, we have one last race coming your way tomorrow night in the form of the Pushing Limits Racing League. The championship is on the line. The Xfinity Series will reign at iRacing Super Speedway. Who will be crowned champion? Find out with us tomorrow night as we go live at the iRacing Super Speedway. Okay, good news is for us, it's not too far off from Boston, Massachusetts, so we don't have to make it too much of a drive here from the New Hampshire end. MRL saying, we just want to say great racing by you guys. MRL, thank you for giving them a little compliment. I guarantee you these Pedal to the Metal Racing League drivers will certainly appreciate that. No room for error, though, to still be made here. Robert Kahn and Matthew Hoffert, the two heavy hitters right now in their division, 7 and 5 seconds ahead of the field. Well, you got to be wondering yourself, too, is Hoffert and Kahn using up too much of their equipment early, and are they using themselves up a little too much right now? This could be a bad spot for them to be thrown out to, because they know playing your cards right versus playing your cards wrong can end up being the biggest factor here. These longer races, it's all about timing, precision, and being patient. The greatest weapon, as we've always said here on Pizza Race TV, and as well as the world has known, is how much patience does a driver have. If they have the patience and the perseverance to stay cool and calm under pressure, more often than not, they are the winner of the season. That's why we always said here, when you got points races on the line, you got points days in extension, you always try to either A, win it, or B, get as close to winning it to try to keep adding the points up. It's not a win and you're in format. It's not a you just get so many points and the season's over with. No, it's you actually got to go out there and win these races or put on a show doing it to get the most out of it. And it sounds like actually Robert Kahn might be clutching in just a little bit here. Looks like he might be trying to get the truck a little bit more fuel. You heard him kind of clutch in and out. Go on board here with him. He was awfully low there entering into turn number 1. Sounded like he actually clutched it in. But he is very, very slow right now on how he's driving off the corners. He's not giving any inches up. Well, that time it looks like he just did not clutch in at all. He's very low though on the throttle. He's not trying to shift in or shift out. He's just staying very smooth. Seems to be helping out quite a bit here, keeping the race lead intact, keeping him on spot and on charge. Chantel Pottle holding up the third spot after her battle earlier on there with Kevin Baker, which saw both drivers even kind of colliding into the wall protection off of turn number 2. Many drivers actually have been slamming into that turn and getting themselves a few mixed match of buttons and a few mixed match of shots there. Neither one's getting out of the mess sooner rather than later. Bottle still working with some brand new equipment on her end. She said since she got this equipment, since she's been working around on the truck and the sim racing aspect, things are becoming more and more realistic to her, and she said the more realistic they become, the better she will be as a driver, because that is really what makes her get better as an individual on the track versus what it takes to even win on the track. And so far, results can't lie. She's had more wins this season and in the pushing limits side, as well as from other ventures she's raced on, than she has had in previous months, in 2 years actually. She's been here with 2 years, and same can be said for Tyler Orrick, who's been on for quite a few years, and he has still been just kicking and fighting for everything he's got as he looks to drive off the 8 Can-Am machine around on the inside of the 5. Great ditch battle effort here, trying to get ahead before the stage break comes to an end. But now Cindy Taylor even spotting some blood in the water. She sees these drivers getting a little bit hard on their noses and struggling to maintain distance, looking to try to take over control. And you can hear the difference between those two as well. They are absolutely firing the motors up and firing the trucks into their spots and in their place, trying to get everything they can to grip and go, but it's not quite there. Dustin saying, looks like Con is just chilling out there. Yeah, he pretty much is at this point. He's not really having too much company at the moment. I don't think he wants any either, as Tyler Orrick drives up high in turn 1, has to open the door for the 07, and the closer now closes in on another spot. Started back in 8th, and she's watching that tire wear and that tire burn. She's being very, very strategic here. And honestly, I'm kind of liking it. You can see just where she's hitting her marks. You can see where she's driving off into the distances. She's letting everyone else burn up their equipment, and she's literally using that to her advantage. They burn it off early, she can drive off later. And with a field this size, it actually works more in her favor, so that could actually be what she wants. As Pottle driving a little bit tight there off of turn 2, has got some company there with the 07 as she drives it wide and right on line. Battle between the two ladies of the field right now, Cindy Taylor and Chantel Pottle. And it looks like Pottle will have to relinquish the spot. Tires seem to be fading out. These drivers did tell me right as they were getting into this race that right front, that is going to be a bit of a challenge for them. That could be a bit of a troublesome spot for them. They said entries is where if they miss corner it just right, they will actually burn all their equipment up within about 2 laps. And they said it is extremely difficult to get back on track. Well, they're certainly showing it here. New Hampshire is not giving an inch here to anyone. Even the veterans are struggling to keep up. Mike Rideout, Jason Henry way back in that pack. Kevin Baker, even though he started second, has currently just lost all his ground, lost all his gain. We'll have to see if he can bring it back here in the next stage here when the time comes, as we are rolling closer to it. James Berry on our YouTube end says, just found you guys, thanks to MRL share. Hello PTM James, thank you for coming on board, and thanks to MRL for the share there, sir. Welcome to the show and welcome to the crew. The Freightliner 21, Robert Kahn, currently the race leader here in the Toyota Tundra, trying to keep the drive ahead there of the Funko Pop 84 of Matthew Hoffert, who Hoffert actually has got a little bit of speed kind of mixed in. Yeah, he's actually throwing it right back at Kahn here. As you can see by the lap timing and lap gap here, Hoffert is starting to fade slightly here. but Kahn is doing much the same, and Hofford actually is getting more grip from it. Lost about 0.2 of a second there on that last lap, but doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. He knows he's only got a few more laps left here in the stage. Kahn seeming like he's almost trying to be very smooth, very rich and controlled, doesn't want to lose out on momentum. And it sounds like he's even slowing down a lot more than maybe Hoffer was expecting. Look at this. 0.4 of a second gain that time. Hofford is in the driver's seat. Now can he capitalize? He's been in this spot before. He's had a chance before to capitalize. Now can he get it done? He's right up there to him. Chantal Pottle has entered in pit road, and so has Tyler Orrick. And it looks like Hofford will have to admit defeat. Kahn will outsmart him on the fuel run. This will definitely help Kahn's run and help him out for the long distance haul. That's exactly what he wanted to see. Also on our Facebook end, real quick, if you guys can let me know down there too, is everything still working okay and still live on your end? I've been told we might have a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of a signal drop off on our end. Double checking over everything. We haven't had any drop frames yet, so I'm presuming it's still working okay. Well, the 5 out of pit road quickly and stays up ahead of Kahn for the moment here. But for how long? Because that gap between her and Kahn could change in a matter of an instant here as we are now rolling up. There is the stage caution. The brake is out. Caution is out. So quite a few drivers are going to be having to channel up to get into the pit roads and get their lap back. So Nick are saying good from this end, so we'll keep it good, we'll keep it real. Thank you for that. Race fans, we are still in the hunt for a race winner here at New Hampshire. It's getting pretty intense down here on the Magic Mile, but so far, it is the Rattlesnake that holds the keys to the track. Will he be able to continue that reign? Find out when we return here on PTM Racing TV. Tonight's race here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100 has been presented in part by our friends at Next Level Racing. Take racing to the next level. By the Butt Kicker Company. Best in performance on feeling real tracks of the virtual world. The Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. By Chris Hubka Real Estate Group. Looking for the perfect place to call home? Call up Chris Hubka and Hubka Real Estate Group to get yourself settled in today. By Ford Entertainment Group PC.net. Matching your want with your wallet. They will always work with your needs to build the best PC at the right price. And by Lightning Wrapz, the most affordable designs made at your leisure. Lightning Wrapz will always bring out the best designs in your library.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
When you need the best designs in your fleet of vehicles, there's only one brand name that many trust in. One that makes every car pop out from the rest of the field, and that is Lightning Wrapz. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at Lightning Wrapz to get yourself a vehicle unlike the rest. Lightning Wrapz, the most affordable designs made at your leisure. Alright, welcome back here, race fans, here to PTM Racing TV. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100 still carrying on down here on the track here, as we have just completed our stage break of lap 40. We have gotten the drivers off from pit road, with two drivers still down but not out here off for pit road here. Mike Rideout and Cindy Taylor a lap down at the moment. Cindy Taylor, unfortunately, due to a bad pit exit there, costing herself some much needed time and some much needed drive, as the rest of the field currently just kind of moving their way back up into the field, back up into the sectors here. We'll have to see how that all translates, how that all affects here in the early terms, in the early going. As Tyler Orrick is being waved around the pace car, we're currently waving for them to come back. That is the reason for the delayed start here, as the field just wants to make sure everybody is in proper working order and proper position. You know, this is going to be a pretty difficult little task as well for Taylor and Mike Rideout, because that pit strategy really did kind of affect them there. It actually cost them a lot of time and a lot of ground. So that could mean two things. That either could mean they are going to have to outrace and outmaneuver the field on pit strategy alone, or they're going to have to get really, they're going to have to hope for a little bit of help and a little bit of a caution break from the iRacing guys, the iRacing officials that hold the keys to the palace. They will be the ones that set everything up and set everything in motion. Mike Rideout is not on the lead lap, mind you, but he'll be running in that fourth slot. So as the field comes around, Matthew Hoffert has the field set in motion. They will go on the green flag restart zone. Off to the marker to the next level racing restart zone. We come off of turn number 4. Send them on their way. Send them down to the track. Race fans, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100 continues. Well, we're back on our way now. We're back in full gear and full bore. It's time to see what these drivers can bring to the table. 46 laps will be completed, so we're just nearing halfway point. Kevin Baker right in the mix of the middle there with the 87 camp. He's going to have to learn from his mistakes earlier. Did he try to overdrive himself early? Can he now learn how to keep it under control? Got a lot of power there he's using up against the 8 of Tyler Orrick. Moving their way down on the ends and down to the corners here. Currently, Orrick dealing with some company now as well with Baker. He's got Henry kind of crossing him up a little bit. Every driver for themselves here. Nobody giving an inch and nobody quitting out just yet. Anybody's guess here so far, really, who can take this one home and who can start to really figure out how to get better on the plaque and on the playing field. We saw Hoffert, though, with his strategy really coming into terms. He looked like he might have had something up for that number 21 of Robert Kahn, and seemingly almost getting back at it here. Hoffert started to decrease the speed, started to decrease the momentum. It looks like he's trying to save up as much as Chantal Bottle is as well. She's currently got a nice sizable third place spot, so I think she's just trying to stay out of trouble, but she is catching up there with the 84 camp of Hoffert, maybe trying to size up, maybe get him a little bit nervous about having to try to get harder in this field, harder in the drive. We'll see how everyone plays this one out, though, because so far it is the Rattlesnake Robert Kahn with the race lead. Mixing it up a little bit right now. Mike Rideout and Cindy Taylor, both drivers a lap down, having no qualms about kind of messing around a little bit and putting each other up to the hedges. A crossover out of turn number 2 for the 07. Taylor getting a good ride from there as Rideout he continues to look for more. And that's the biggest thing here about this track here, because it's so flat banked, because it's such a flat surface track. You don't have a lot of room for error or for any mental drive. You can see right here, just from this track alone, you make it any flatter, you're pretty much going to turn this place into a Milwaukee Mile, or even you can turn it into a Martinsville Speedway if you shorten it up. That's how small the banking is. It's not a huge banking track. This Eastern style base tracks usually have more of a emphasis for the open wheel cockpits and the open wheel drives that we've seen in previous times. Of course, Whelen Modified Tours certainly have their showcase, their little drive around here. They've put up some great races here before, and they've had some tremendous battles before on this track and on these surfaces. And this is one of their homelands that they go to. Another one you may know of, well, it's not quite in New Hampshire, but does Stafford Motor Speedway ring a bell on the eastern side, race fans? Yeah, that's about the same fit, same deal. Speaking of the same deal right now, Tyler Work, number 8, trying to hold the 4th slot on right now, as he is currently staying ahead of Jason Henry in the 3. But Henry, even though he's got some damage still on that right side, doesn't seem to phase him too much. Wants to try to outmaneuver and outrun him here. Can-Am 8 trying to stay ahead of that 3 of Henry. Every driver for themselves here so far out of 55 of 100 laps completed. It's been not too bad, not too shabby in my opinion. It's been race ready. And it's been a pretty decent little race ready performance by everybody involved. And speaking of crossing up, here comes a little slide job action as the 3 of Henry showcasing that flat banking end by doing some harder racing there. Takes a good drive off on Oric, but remember that is also gonna burn the tires up just a little bit more by pulling that slight maneuver off. We'll see how it fares and how it reacts, but you can just even see just how much dust, grime, and destruction that thing has taken. It is not 100%, and he knows it too. Or probably watching off from behind, knows that Henry is overdoing himself and trying to really push an agenda on himself. He knows that is a big, big mistake, and that will end up costing and hurting him more than he realizes. It is starting to make things more and more interesting by the minute. Robert Kahn 2.5 seconds, now about 2/3 of a 2 1/3 second ahead. He's not giving an inch to Hoffert, but Hoffert's not exactly backing down either. We saw earlier on when he was getting that late stage there, he pretty much just threw everything to the wire and threw everything to the wall. Having no qualms about that, he wanted to make sure he really could stick it to them and give it everything he had. Now Hoffert has got company on his back corner panel here. If it wasn't kind of obvious, he's got a big black and pink machine running up to him, camoed up to hide in the distance and hide in the corners. But here, there's no more where to hide for the 84. Matthew Hoffert in trouble. The 5 of Chantal Bottle looking to dip into his second spot. Hoffert looks like he's driving a lot harder too in those corners, judging by that position and moving there. Pottle, if she can stay focused and stay controlled here, she doesn't have to worry about that same deal. She can actually back her corners up, and Hoffert will abuse his tires up more as they go. They're well aware of this, and they're well aware that this could be a lot more difficult, a lot more frustrating when all is said and done. Peeking on that inside line again. Will Chantel drive in? No, not quite anyway. Hoffert is reaving her room though. Here she goes off the bottom, planks it in, and a hard drive off. She's not shipping up to Boston. She is sending it down in New Hampshire. Oh, but almost puts the fender down there into that 84's corner panel. Hoffert, no, that was a quick one. He's got to be a little more careful there. A drag race off on the back stretch, side by side now, battling for second. Dustin saying, good to see Offie having a good night. Yeah, it's good to see him finally start to kind of come into his own and recover a bit. And Hoffert, as I say that, I may have just given him the old broadcaster curse. Slams the wall slightly, and that right rear has now taken a little bit of damage. We'll see if that comes to effect later on, but it looks like it's already affected him. He's having a little bit of a tighter off track here. The rear end is not apexing around the corner the same way he'd like it to, and now trouble seems to be brewing. Hoffert is in trouble. Laps dwindling down. The Rattlesnake Robert Kahn here in the 21 currently still holding on to the race lead, and really it's no surprise there that he's been able to do as well as he has this season. Seems as though like, no matter what he runs, no matter where he goes or what he's in, he'll find a way to thrive in it. He'll find a way to be in that environment and just give it everything she's got with no regard and no trouble for the rest. You can see the gap starting to come even further ahead. Chantal Pottle about 5 seconds back of Robert Kahn here. These two just absolutely separating out and getting further away from the pack and from the drive. Cindy Taylor literally just hoping and praying for a little bit of help or for some kind of miracle. Remember, Cindy is not on the lead lap here. Hoffert is on the lead lap. He's currently running in third. Taylor, though, the only thing is she just wants to try to get anything more back she can. Jason Henry already back in pit road there. Got out as well. So now currently trying to get his spots back. Trying to use some strategy and use some drive up on his game plan here. Good battling back and forth here, though. Cindy still just trying to make a little bit of a performance out of herself and continuing to keep Hofford on his toes, but you gotta kind of wonder as well. I mean, is this getting to his head a little bit? Is it starting to infuriate him a little bit? Tyler Orrick has now been passed up as he currently is being driven into the ground, driven onto the track here. Coming out of pit road, looking to try to see if he can bring something to his team, back to his field here. And speaking of coming back to the field, look out. Oh my, look at this. 3 wide. Entering into turn number 1. Oh my word. Jason Henry, I don't know what gear he found, but a fresh set of tires will certainly help you with that one, my friend. Oh boy. He just full on sent that thing in through the turn and into the drive. That was something. How did he be able to do that and get through that kind of corner that well is beyond me. That is an impressive little run there. Khan has entered into pit road here, so that will open the door for the 5. Shinto Palo try to beat him out on strategy now. If she can continue this drive off and keep it in position, she may have a chance here. Khan's still stuck in pit road. What comes out now as the Freightliner 21 tries to reel back in. Will he go a lap down, though? Gotta be very careful of that corner off on the exit. Pit road, believe me, I've hit that thing a few times. It's not gonna fall a lap down, but Matthew Hoffert still isn't in the full round or sanctuary that he'd like it to be. Take a look at our pit strategy right now and see where we got on the mark here. This is the pit strategy so far in this field, and this is how many laps they ran. With about 26 laps to go, I would say Pottle is probably nearing the end of her session. I would say if she gets it to about 24, 22 laps remaining, I'd say that's going to be when you see that change up. You can see where Khan went in as well. You can see his strategy kind of loosely turning some heads, turning some drive off. Now with that final pit stop that he just made, and Hoffert staying out as well. He knows that if anything, being this far out and this far in, he's going to now have to figure out how to keep speed abundant and pretty clear on what he wants to do. Because now he's going to have to try to figure out a little bit more on how everybody else is going to work and then time it right. But if he starts to get on the gas way too soon and way too much, that could be something different here. Field now dipping back into position, back into place here. Pit stops have been made and the 5 has gone in, so she has lost some spots there. Hoffert trying to stay out as long as he can and away from the rattlesnake, but I don't know if that's going to last out the way he's hoping for. It's one thing to keep your distance and keep your momentum going, but it's another to social distance and then realize you're a little bit too close for your own comfort. Yeah, that's exactly what Kevin Baker's even giving him here. Kevin doesn't want to follow around a lap here. He doesn't want to lose that lap completely. He wants to try to get back into that run. Hoffert, though, even on burnt tires, hangs him back, hangs it a little bit loose, and just kind of lets the drive come off to his end. This has been a long distance drive and a long fight for survival to the finish, as we've said here on Pizza Race TV before. can sometimes make or break someone's drive and season. With 21 laps left to go. Baker hoping for a run, hoping for some momentum. Punching it right behind Hoffert. Still no give, no gain yet. Looks like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it looks like Baker might be a little bit nervous actually getting back on that gas pedal there and getting back into the drive in some of these corners here. I think he's honestly struggling to actually get it to rotate when he's back in the throttle. I think he's worried about it actually spinning out and then tightening up tremendously on him there, as now he finally gets a chance to get around the 84 of Hoffert. Hoffert has to go into pit road. His fuel run's going to come to an end, and that means Kahn's going to come in and sneak this one by him. And Kahn knows this is exactly what he wants to see, exactly what he wants to have on the table. Jason Henry even now. Starting to gain more position, starting to gain more ground. You can see his lap times have truly improved here. He's got a lot faster and a lot better on the course. Tyler Ork is starting to catch up to him, and as we look at our fuel run, he's in contention here. He's actually right at the mark before that fuel run runs out, so I'd say I think he's pretty much got a good set in stone number here. Speaking of set in stone number, here comes that 5 of Chantal Bottle back at it. Looking to overtake Tyler Ork for that third spot and regain coverage. With the fresh set of tires, though, is that enough to get back up to the rattlesnake Robert Kahn and to Jason Henry? That's a big question for her. I'd say probably about 10 laps to go, you may see the hounds be released on that one. So Naker saying, go Henry, go. Yeah, Henry's got a good drive here. He's keeping his second spot in march and in charge. He's still hanging in there. Tyler Ork much the same, although he'll have to fall back just a spot here. Hoffert, whoa, Hoffert with major troubles down there out of pit road. The 84 stuck in pit road for quite a time here, and that just put him to the very bottom of the pack here. I'm not sure if that was a pit stop mistake or that was a pitting entrance issue, but that might have just derailed anything he had, and that just shows you how difficult pit road can be. He loses time and position, and Mike Rideout and Cindy Taylor have now moved into their spots respectfully. Cindy Taylor probably breathing a sigh of relief there in case Robert Kahn does win this one out, knowing she doesn't have to completely fight for everything she's got come next week in that final race, the championship race at Michigan. Yes, the very same race the Cup Series we're just racing in. Steve Fagan comes on board on the Facebook end saying, let's go, number 76. Steve, good to have you on board, sir. Rooting on Mike Rideout here in the 76 here, although for Mr. Rideout, he is, shall we say, not quite having the best day here in New Hampshire. Track is just not playing the way he wants it to, and it's also tore up a lot of his tire and tore up a lot of his equipment to get any kind of bolster or momentum and run. Despite all that, does not seem to faze him, not the slightest bit. Matter of fact, if anything, looks like he's actually trying to make a bit of a jump back into position and a jump back on the spot. Field now stretched back up, and again here the distance is definitely a bit higher than maybe I think we have seen in previous times here in New Hampshire. Usually we have seen them kind of stretched out for only a short distance or a short run or a short stint, but this is the first time in a while we've seen this many drivers come out here, and they've really kind of gotten thrown to the walls and thrown into position like this. 12 laps left to go. When we get to the final 10 laps to go, we'll get the top 5 marked up on our end here. And speaking of getting marked up here, looks like there is some time gained in position here. The 5, Chantal Pottle, is now coming back for Jason Henry. Henry, though, you know he'll have no quit here, no give, and that's exactly what you need to do here in Pedal to the Metal Racing League. You got to go for it all and never give out. But the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100, presented by Next Level Racing, is nearing the end of its segment, nearing the end of its drive. Take a look at the time here on lap number 89, and that is definitely a ground clearance gain, 0.188. So nearly 2 tenths of a second faster than the old 3. The 5 is coming for him. Tyler Orrick still behind pace, still behind momentum with 10 laps to go. Knows this one's not playing in the same way he would like it to. Orrick right now dealing with the closer Cindy Taylor here in the 07 in the 6th place position. And to me, it looked like ever since that pit road issue and that being stuck on the last lap, on that late lap there, for as long as she did, it really not only affected her, but it affected her drive and her ability to really take control of the track. It does make you kind of wonder here, what if they did not have to deal with that speed and power the 21 Robert Kahn threw right at her and them? Would that have changed the landscape? Would that have changed everything outright? Questions, of course, we may never answer here, because really there is no point in trying to figure out how to answer them. Kevin Baker, though, at least will have himself a top 5 finish here as long as he stays out of trouble and keeps this thing on all 4 wheels. It'll be the first time in a bit he's had a top 5, but man, when he gets it going, he can get it going. Robert Kahn now muscling back over to Matthew Hofford in the 84, and Hofford, I gotta believe, is probably the most annoyed out of the group and out of the bunch for that pit road entry, unfortunately costing him all that time and all that gain in ground. He knows that's what cost him dearly, and that's what was the end game for him, and it was this troublesome spot that threw him in. Stage 1 in this first and that halfway stage point, he was literally muscling to Kahn there and almost had him before running out of fuel. And now the rattlesnake just biting everybody and not letting them breathe, not letting them think whatsoever. 6 laps remain. We are nearing the end game of it all. And speaking of the end game, well, we told you earlier, there might be a little bit of defensive maneuvering here. Henry was on the defensive there from turn number 4. Has to get back out of there with turn 1, 2. But the 5 driving on the inside. She cuts the track down, shortens it up, and now that's exactly what she wants. Adds a little bit more tire, a little bit more give, and that few more laps is going to end up costing dearly for Henry. A 9-lap difference between those two on tires is now showing you what exactly can happen when you do strategy at its fullest. Hard drive for the 2nd place battle ahead right now. Henry trying, and I mean desperately, trying to keep up. Pottle is trying to make sure that he does not get to that bottom again to then shorten the track out. And she's trying to use every little bit of that bottom lane to then shift it up the outside. Problem is with Henry, where he's at, makes it so much more difficult. And this time Henry will fade off and finally give in. And the 3 slamming the wall off of turn number 4 ends up costing dearly. The 5 of Chantal Pottle now takes the lead. Jason Henry will throw himself back into the 3rd spot. And maybe giving a slight glimmer of hope to the 8 of Tyler Orrick if he can find a way to catch up. It's not over yet. Still have a battle for 3rd if Orrick can catch up there, or maybe Henry can get back to the 2nd spot and take on the 5. But it looks like the 5 is getting her ground clearance and her ground back up on the track. Matthew Hoffer now at this point just being toyed around with by the 21 Freightliner Tundra of Kahn. Through lap traffic, using him as a drafting pal, using him as a little bit of a helper there. Although Hofford, I would presume, probably would say the same thing in that. I don't want nothing to do with Kahn behind me right now. Yeah, he'll let up through on the inside. Lets him on by now, and Kahn regains composure and gains up more position in track slate. Hofford, though, man, he sure found a little bit extra kick up there. Ended up getting around Kahn. They're off that turn. Unfortunately for him, it is too little too late. White flag high in the air, this time on by for the one that drives the big white Freightliner Tundra. Many times we've seen this picture, many times we've known this race. It is the race Robert Kahn loves to tell the tale of. Off of turn 3, and finally down into turn number 4, the Rattlesnake Robert Kahn will claim another one. He bits it home at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100. Second place off the final drive will go to Chantel Pottle. Jason Henry will take home third in a hard-fought effort, and Tyler Orrick will take home fourth, with Kevin Baker patrolling in the fifth spot. What a race by all drivers involved. And just like that, the Rattlesnake sneaks one by and takes another one home. He is your New Hampshire Motor Speedway winner here today, and an absolute barn burner fight from start to finish. A tire burner fight, I guess is the best way to explain it, because that was really what it was all about. It was just a matter of who can save the tire and who can get the best drive off, as much as saving the fuel up. Some figured it out late, some figured it out early. Robert Van Essen, great show. Dustin giving good win to Robert Kahn. Definitely indeed there, my friends. A win secured up on the track. Time to take a look at your PTM Racing TV results, presented in part by our friends at Ford Entertainment Group PC.net. Robert Kahn with the win, 12 seconds ahead of the field of Chantel Pottle in the 5, the 3 of Jason Henry going 3rd, Tyler Orrick in the 8 goes 4th, and then Kevin Baker taking the top 5, and that 87 cam. Certainly a battle to the end and a drive off the finish. Race fans, when we come back, we'll listen to the top 3 and see how they felt about this one. Alright, now race fans, welcome back here onto the show here. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100 has all but concluded now, so time to get down to business and chat up with our race winners here, as our third place finisher will go to the 3 of Jason Henry. And Henry, congratulations here on a third place finish here and a good drive off from the end to the finish point. It seemed like when you were getting late into that run, it looked like it was going to be a matter of just trying to save enough tire to keep up with the field and keep up with the fuel, and it certainly did. But you had a little bit of company late in the run there with Chantel kind of sneaking by you. That kind of hurt the field a little bit more on the track.
No, I knew she was going to be coming. She had, I think, 15 lap fresher tires, so it was just a matter of time before she caught me.
We counted 9 laps on our end there when all is said and done, but yeah, I guess it really could be best said that it felt like about 15 to even more so laps that you could get from this track. It seemed like the tires were just getting tore up out there, weren't they?
Yeah, there was a lot of tire wear, especially with the right front, just trying to get through with no banking. It was just hard to get the tires to turn. And then I struggled most of the race. I had damage from where I followed a couple of them up into the wall.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, you are going to at least be able to match out at a solid third place finish today. So with that set in mind, who do you want to thank you for that?
I want to thank you guys and all of our sponsors for putting on such a great season. Can't believe it's already almost over, and I'm excited to get to Michigan and end on a good note.
And on a good note indeed, Michigan is up next on the lineup. But nevertheless here, Henry, congratulations on this third place finish today, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here, Jason Henry will walk away as the third place man of the bunch. And then coming away, of course, in that second spot today is the 5, Chantel Pottle now joins us. And Chantel, you know, another runner-up spot coming your way, but, you know, it seemed like if you were going to do it, New Hampshire was certainly the way to do it. This place was absolutely tearing it up out there on the track.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun track and a really good tire burner.
Certainly indeed. So, but with that said, I mean, it looked like when you were getting past Hofford there earlier on in the last bit of that race, it looked like you were trying to catch up there to Kahn. Was it just a little bit too much, a little bit of the burn from the track to just catch him, or did he just kind of running away from you there, you think?
Yeah, I never even tried. He was 13, 14, 15, something like that, seconds ahead of me, and I didn't want to burn up my right front, so then the rest of the pack will catch me, and then I wouldn't finish good.
Well, in this case, at least you were able to maintain a cool head and keep it up for a second place spot. So who do you want to thank her for that?
Everyone at PTM Racing TV and all of our sponsors for Pedal to the Metal Racing League.
For sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, Chantel, congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll catch you next time out.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the throttle, Chantel Pottle coming away here second, but the man that steals another one home, the old rattlesnake himself, Robert Kahn, comes away with another victory. Robert, congratulations on this race win today in New Hampshire, and what a fight off and a battle here for you and this crew. Absolutely tearing it up out there.
Yeah, that was a good race. Fuel mileage played into that a lot, and just trying to make some points up to try to have a shot at a championship in Michigan. I think still 1 point behind, so if not tied, I'm not sure. It's really close, so it'll be a hell of a race next week at Michigan, that's for sure.
Michigan definitely will set the tail here. We said it before, we'll say it again. The stakes are always high here, and it is pretty crazy out here just to even see who is going to be able to get the better of the two and the better of the track. And you know, you had a good drive off from start to finish here, but Con, you know, with the championship on the line next week, are you going to be able to possibly make this truck go as fast as you can with that bad boy Michigan?
I'm just going to hold her wide open and hope for the best, man. I mean, Michigan, it always comes to fuel mileage, and last season it was the same thing. I had a fast truck, but I ended up having this lay back and save fuel to win the championship, which I don't generally like to do. I like to go for it, but I think that's going to be the main thing of strategy next week. It's a long race, and points are tight.
Well, you have one there before, so what's one more win not on that resume here, Con? But nevertheless, as you come away with the victory, who do you want to thank you for this?
I appreciate you, appreciate PTM, Black Kicker, everybody. So appreciate you, man.
For sure there. Ladies and gentlemen, the rattlesnake Robert Kahn coming away with the race win. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway 100 belongs to him. Well, race fans, that will all but do it for our coverage today, presented in part by our friends at Next Level Racing, the Butt Kicker Company, Chris Hubka Real Estate Group, Ford Entertainment Group, PC.net, and our friends down at Lightning Wrapz. A big thank you to all those involved and all those that tuned on into the show Without you guys and the fans alike, we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So for now, I say thank you everyone for tuning on in. Thank you all so much for coming out. Until the green flag is flying high tomorrow night, we appreciate you all, but please stay safe. God bless, and take care, everybody.